So I don't think I've ever seen the 3D printing industry move this quickly. Every week seems to bring another announcement that 12 months ago would have seemed completely ridiculous. And in all this, the biggest name in the game is missing in action. So in this video, it's all about running through some of the coolest announcements I've seen recently. Now, none of these ideas are actually new if you follow the 3D printing industry closely. 5-axis printing has been around for years, tool changes aren't new, multi-material printing certainly isn't new either. What's changed is that all these technologies are arriving with the consumer at the same time. Rotary nozzle changes, tool changes, IDEX machines capable of printing 7 different materials, printers claiming 36 colours, even full colour resin printers that barely need any post-processing. The exciting part isn't even all the new tech, it's that every manufacturer seems to agree on the problem, but no one's got the solution yet. And as a result, I have no idea which solution is gonna be the winner. One quick disclaimer for you. Obviously, most of the 3D printers in this video are speculative at this point. The claims that are made by their manufacturers are, let's just say, they're optimistic. Some of the printers I've actually backed myself because I'm genuinely interested in the tech, but I want you to bear that in mind as we run through the video. With that said, let's go check out some interesting printers. The Toppy R1. Now I want to start with probably the strangest printer on the list. This is the Toppy R1, and at first glance it looks like any other enclosed Core XY printer. But underneath it's doing something we've never seen on a desktop machine. The headline feature is it's a consumer-focused 5-axis 3D printer. Now if you've seen industrial 5-axis additive manufacturing before, you're probably picturing giant robotic arms swinging print heads from almost every impossible angle. If you're at Rapid TCT this year, you may have even seen the unlayered machine doing exactly that. That's not what's happening here. Instead, Toppy has developed a system where the print bed itself tilts while the print is in progress. It's not true industrial 5-axis printing, but it's close enough that it immediately caught my attention. Underneath the bed are 3 independently controlled Z-axis motors. By moving them independently, the printer can actually change the angle of the print while it's being printed. The idea is something called non-planar printing. Instead of laying down perfectly flat layers from start to finish, the printer changes the orientation of the model as it goes. Now, according to Toppy, that means steeper unsupported overhangs, smoother curved surfaces, and significantly less support material. Depending on which specification you read, they're claiming somewhere between 62 and 75 degree support-free overhangs, along with a 60% reduction in support material. These are huge claims, and I look forward to seeing all the independent test videos of this printer, but the hardware definitely ticks all the right boxes. There's a 350 by 340 by 320mm build volume, 350 degrees C all metal hot end, 100 degree heated bed, 60 degrees C actively heated chamber, dual AA cameras, vibration compensation, an integrated full spool colour system. You get the idea. Then we get to the software, and it does seem that every single manufacturer needs to cram AI in there somehow. What I'm interested in though is how the slicer handles non-planar 3D printing. Whether this becomes just an interesting experiment or the future of 3D printing is still in doubt, but I absolutely love that companies are trying new stuff, pushing stuff forward, and really experimenting in this point. Bondtech. Before we move on, I think there's another story developing that hardly anybody seems to be talking about. Over the last few weeks, I've noticed Bondtech hinting they're preparing to defend their intellectual property much more aggressively. Now, I'm not a patent lawyer, so I have no real clue how this is going to pan out. Because if you've been following these announcements, you'll notice a lot of companies suddenly entering the tool changer and nozzle changing space. That tech doesn't appear overnight. Companies like Bondtech have spent years developing these systems, so it's completely understandable they want to protect that work. Also, the Bondtech system is really, really impressive. The developer version of that system has actually just gone live today, which is incredible. So do go and check that out. The link's in the description below. What I'm not clear about though is how these patents that they're rightfully defending are going to be applied, whether they're going to be able to be licensed, who has control over what, and frankly, what is patented and what is patent pending. Frankly, it's quite possible the manufacturers have all come up with completely different solutions that just happen to have converged onto something that's really similar, and there's no problem here whatsoever. But I do think that IP protection and how developers and manufacturers are defending that is going to be one of the hot topics of 2027, so watch this space. One thing is certain though, after seeing the index systems running at Formnext last year, I really want to get my hands on one. Infinimec MX, the next printer, caught me off guard. The first time I saw the Infinimec FX, it popped up on Facebook, and if I'm honest, my first thought was it's probably AI-generated nonsense. Then I started digging. It turns out Infinimec actually has an entire range of print farm-focused machines. Automatic build plate handling, large spool management. They're very clearly designed printers for production rather than hobby use, and the MX is their latest announcement. An 8-tool multi-material printer aimed squarely at that market. And it may well be that this machine was one of the ones that Bondtech was talking about when they started ratcheting up their protectionist language around their IP. The tool changing system certainly looks very similar. I'd absolutely love to get my hands on one just to see how close it really is. And the reason I've included it isn't to explain how tool changes work. Most of you watching already know that. The interesting part here is what this is trying to do. Now, Infinimec claim 8 times faster printing, 8 times more efficient material use, all the things that 3D printing companies normally say, and while actually that seems relatively plausible, you've just got to bear in mind that these are manufacturer claims, so you've got to take them with a little bit of a pinch of salt, at least until we've seen independent results about all this sort of stuff. What does stand out to me though, and the reason it's in this list, is that Infinimec seems to be a company that, although I hadn't heard of them before, are focused on 3D print farms. So what I'm excited by is a multi-material printer that is designed with print farms in mind. That feels new. I don't think anyone has really filled that niche yet. Whether the MX actually ships, whether it fulfills its promises though, that's another claim. But I'm genuinely interested to know the answer, and it's a printer to keep an eye on. It's PCBWay's 12th anniversary, and to celebrate, they're giving away coupons off everything they sell up to the value of $200. That's off their PCBs, turnkey electronics, 3D printing and CNC manufacturing, as well as off-the-shelf electrics too. To take part, all you need to do is head over to the website, select the service that you want, then input the specifications and submit that for a quotation. You'll receive a quotation back really quickly, and then once you accept, you'll receive your parts in just a couple of weeks. I want to say a huge thank you to PCBWay for supporting this video, as well as supporting my friends and creators within the community too. So, happy birthday, happy 12th anniversary, and let's get back to the video. Creality's Cleatech. Now, if you asked me this year which announcement surprised me least, it would probably be this one. Surprise, surprise, Creality are coming to market with a multi-tool head, multi-material, multi-colour printer. What did surprise me though was both how quickly they got here and how similar it looks to other tool changes on the market. Now, I don't know what Bondtech has patented, and I don't know how that patent affects those who are already producing printers. In fact, I don't know whether the thing they've patented is able to be licensed out by other companies, and that is indeed what's happening already. So I'm not going to pretend I do. But I will say there are definitely parts of this design that remind me of things I've previously seen elsewhere. And it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what comes of the whole he said, she said, you copied my homework situation over the next year. Whatever happens though, if Cleatech performs anywhere close to the way Creality are claiming, it'll be a massive moment for desktop 3D printing. Creality is just a huge company. They've built some fantastic printers over the years, and while I've certainly had my frustrations with the company itself from time to time, I'm still a huge fan of the tech they produce. Like every manufacturer this year, they've made some ambitious claims. Faster nozzle changes, less waste, different nozzle diameters with the same print, flexible filament support, higher productivity. I cannot verify any of those yet, but one thing I will say is that Creality aren't generally known for announcing products that never materialise. I'm really hoping I can get one in for review, because that's exactly the sort of technology I want to spend my time testing. That's why I love covering this industry. Every few weeks another company comes along with a completely different idea. And at the moment, no one really knows what the approach is going to come out on top. Cleatech is expected to launch on the new K3 platform later this year, and at the moment details are pretty scarce, but assuming we get a similar build size and a tool changer that works from Creality, I think it's pretty safe to say it could be one of the biggest printer launches of 2026. There's one question I keep coming back to though. Where is Bamboo in all this? Don't get me wrong, the AMS is still probably the benchmark for consumer multicolour printing. It's reliable, it's easy to use, and it's played a huge part in bringing multi-material printing into the mainstream. But it's also fair to say it's never been the most efficient system. If you've ever printed a large multicolour model, you'll know exactly how quickly the poop bucket fills up. What's fascinating is that almost every announcement this year seems to be attacking that exact problem. Creality has nozzle changing, Infinimec has multi-tool extrusion, Sovol has Dual X, Snapmaker and FlashForge are completely crushing it by competing aggressively on value. Everybody seems to think they've found the answer. Meanwhile, Bambu released the H2C, showed the Vortex system, and since then, things have gone pretty quiet. Now maybe that's the right decision. Bambu doesn't really need to rush. They're still selling printers by the bucket load. They're still the most dominant 3D printing company on the planet. Probably it'll do their brand more harm to release a subpar product than to release something late. I genuinely don't know. What do you think? What I do know is that everybody in the industry is watching to see what Bambu does next. And obviously, as soon as I can get my hand on whatever that is, you'll be the first to know. So if that is something you're interested in, subscribe to the channel and join me in that video whenever it comes down the line. The Sovol M1D. So while Bambu has stayed relatively quiet, Sovol definitely hasn't. I genuinely don't know what Sovol's design meetings look like, but they've packed an awful lot into this printer. It's Core XY, it's IDEX, it has tool change, it can print up to 7 different materials, and somehow they've managed to roll all that into one machine. The result is something they're calling Dual X. One print head stayed permanently mounted. The second automatically swaps between 6 additional tool heads. That gives the printer access to 7 different colours or materials on a single print. It also means the printer simply swaps tools and carries on printing. No waiting around for the next nozzle to come up to temperature, exactly as you see with other multi-tool head changes. It also keeps everything you'd expect from an IDEX machine. Mirror mode, copy mode. You've got dedicated support materials, small batch production. Then you get to the rest of the spec sheet. 300 by 300 by 350 bowl volume, automatic filament handling, AI print detection, camera-based calibration, and the best, open source firmware. And I'll say it again though, the tool swap mechanism certainly reminds me of Bondtech's approach. Whether there's a connection, there may be licensing involved, I genuinely don't know, but it's something that you should be keeping an eye on. Whether this becomes an incredibly capable machine or just a very complicated one though remains to be seen. I've already reached out to Sovol and hopefully I'll be getting my hands on something like this in the future. Hopefully Sovol will see this video and you'll get a video to enjoy later down the line. The Atom Form Palette 300. Then we arrive at another bold announcement. The Atom Form Palette 300. On paper, this thing seems almost made up. And frankly, it might be. There's 36 colours, 12 different materials, 12 automatic nozzle changes, 300mm Core XY printer, a claimed print speed of 800mm per second, more than 50 sensors, 4 AI cameras. It's one of those spec sheets where you stop halfway through and think, surely not. The really interesting part though is the nozzle system. Instead of feeding every material through a single hot end, each material gets its own dedicated nozzle mounted on a rotating wheel. The printer simply swaps to whichever nozzle it needs next. According to Atom Form, that cuts waste by as much as 90% while making material changes 50% faster. Again, those are manufacturer figures, and that is exactly why I opened this video with that disclaimer. I'd absolutely love this to be real, but I've spent quite a lot of time in their Discord and, well, frankly, things have been quiet recently. Kickstarter announcement dates have come and gone. Like I say, I hope this is true, and if it is true, it really could offer an alternative that is incredibly useful. 36 colours. That's cool. And I really hope they pull it off, because if they do, it could be one of the biggest leaps forwards in 3D printing in years. And speaking of exciting technology, the last printer I want to talk about isn't even an FDM 3D printer. Heygear's G1 and G1X. And honestly, I think this might be the announcement I'm most excited about. As most of you know, my first love has always been miniatures. 3D printers are simply the tools that let me make more of them. So when Heygears announced the G1 and G1X, I stopped what I was doing and I started reading. Because when this technology matures, it has the potential to completely change what people think is possible from a 3D printer. The headline feature is full colour resin printing, not swapping coloured filaments, not printing separate parts and gluing them together afterwards, actually producing full coloured resin models directly from the printer. According to Heygears, the system is capable of reproducing more than 10 million colours, transparent materials, and incredibly fine details in a single print. If you've ever painted miniatures, you'll understand why that's exciting. Now, before anyone says, but painting is part of the hobby. Of course it is. It's not going to stop you painting. In the same way CDs didn't replace vinyl, nor photography replaced original canvas art. But I do think it opens up some really interesting possibilities. Really cool board game miniatures. Original campaign characters for your D&D games. Maybe even artists can get involved too. They can paint their original painted piece on a miniature and sell that. And then they can recreate the same thing digitally and sell prints to you or I for a little bit less money, making their art more accessible. I don't know, there's probably thousands of different capabilities and different options out there. Essentially, anything you could use a 3D printed multicolor model for has the potential to now be made in your small studio or in your home. That's exciting, right? Because it functions much like a professional UV printer, it's capable of printing directly onto flat objects, cylindrical objects, even transfer film. That alone makes it a fascinating piece of hardware. The printer uses an Epson industrial printhead, an 8-channel ink system, incredibly small droplet sizes, and UV curing to build both the geometry and the colour information at the same time. It's supposed to have a sophisticated anti-clogging system. On a machine this complex, that's a really good thing, and we actually know some of the pricing of this machine already. The top spec G1X is going to be around $3,500. We also know the price of some of the accessories too. The ink, for example, $300. A replacement printhead, that's a big deal. $2,000. It'll last between 12 and 24 months, but still $2,000 to replace it means it's not going to be a mainstream machine for a good long while yet. But that's okay. Somebody has to build that technology first. Now, I've actually reached out to Hey Gears, because of course I have, because I really want to get my hands on this product. In fact, I've even backed the Kickstarter because I'd like to say I really want to get hands-on with this printer. So if anyone from Hey Gears is actually watching, well, you know where I am and you know how excited I am. Stepping back from all these announcements, I genuinely think 26 and 27 are shaping up to be one of the most exciting years I've seen since I got into 3D printing. Not because printers are 100 millimeters per second faster, not because someone has squeezed another AI feature into a slicer, but because companies finally seem to be experimenting again, and that's cool. For a while, it felt like every new print launch was just another Core XY machine with a few incremental improvements, or a resin machine with a bigger screen. This year feels different. Everybody seems to agree that desktop manufacturing can be better. Nobody agrees on how to get there though. Some companies are changing nozzles, some are changing tool heads. Some are changing the way printers move altogether. And we're starting to see technologies that were only available in industry and cost tens of thousands of pounds become available to you or I. This feels like the exciting days of early consumer 3D printing, when stuff that was previously only available in factories started to be available in your house. And we know how that story turned out, and it's so exciting. Maybe one of the companies I've talked about in this video will completely change the 3D printing industry. Maybe a company we've never heard of will do the same. And don't forget, we've still got Bamboo sitting in the background silently waiting, as well as other legacy manufacturers like Prusa, whose index system still hasn't made it to general sale just yet. I'm sure that we've still got plenty of surprises coming in the next year, and I am here for it. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I would appreciate one thing though. If you are excited about any of the printers you've seen in this video, do let me know in the comments below. I love to read the comments, as long as they're nice. If you've enjoyed the different format, let me know that too. And I'll close out the video by saying a huge thank you to everyone who's watched this far, liked, commented, subscribed to the channel, joined in the chat over on my Discord, and most grateful for those who support me on Patreon or our YouTube channel members. You are absolute legends and you know who you are. So this has been RisingApe. I've been James, and I will see you next time.